It's a very good question. It's a question I ask myself a lot. Why on earth would a bunch of people give up a Saturday to talk about SharePoint? I guess it just shows how awesome it is, I guess.
I'm Bradley. We're currently at Sanlam. Sanlam's hosting the SharePoint Saturday. It's an event where people around the country get together, the SharePoint geeks get together and talk about the tools and advances and tips and tricks and basically building up the SharePoint community.
There's no real story behind it. I'm a geek. I'm into something that would say something on my arm instead of saying something really bad in Cantonese. But yeah, I look after SharePoint Saturday Cape Town. Quite a big turnout, which is good. Biggest SharePoint Saturday event on the continent thus far.
I think SharePoint Saturdays attract so many people as it is now because of the prevalence of SharePoint inside of industry.
SharePoint 2010's brought some interesting things to the table. If I talk about the South African market specifically, over the last year, I'd say there's been a massive growth here. We've been waiting for it actually. But on a global scale, I think the adoption of SharePoint 2010 specifically has been bigger than all previous versions of SharePoint, so it's pretty massive. It's growing very fast.
There's requirements from both the business side of the product as well as the IT side. There's an interest in it. Companies want to know what they can get out of SharePoint, how they can get return on investment. And the IT geeks that sit in the basements, I joke, want to know how they can actually improve and develop solutions on top of SharePoint. So it's a very exciting time for SharePoint.
I guess the geeks like most is the geek talk. We've got some international speakers like Zlatan and Ben Curry, and they're obviously SharePoint MVPs, so they're Microsoft valuable professionals.
In SharePoint specifically, there's about 250 globally. There are only 5 business SharePoint MVPs, all the rest of them are technical. I'm one of those business SharePoint MVPs, so yay for South Africa.
So I'm looking forward to their talks.
You guys still there?
Hey, good morning. So how many people are business analysts? Yeah, okay, that helps. Developers. All right, look, developers. How many developers does it take to change a light bulb? None. It's a hardware problem.
For those who are looking to do a deployment of SharePoint for enterprise content management, I would look for strategic initiatives by the executives. So something like a process improvement program or the formation of a project management office. So find executive pet projects, find those people that have money, and then support those projects. So build an architecture that aligns with those strategic initiatives and objectives. That's really one of the cornerstones to success.
AvePoint is the world's largest provider of SharePoint infrastructure management tools and governance tools for SharePoint.
The big question is, does farm architecture affect governance?
SharePoint governance is a very interesting and fluffy topic. I would say probably the most important thing is to make sure that your investment in SharePoint technology has a key driver from a business level and gets driven right down to your storage layer. To me, governance is more than just applying a bunch of settings. It really is about the top level business down to the bottom level of technology. I think people forget that technology incorporates what governance delivers as well. So.
SharePoint picks up changes for you, and depending on the different frequencies, you can then get those changes mailed to specific people or just you. So you can actually customize it.
My greatest success to date with the SharePoint product has been in ShopPoint, where we as a retail company communicate content and news, etc. to all our stores, and we've got more than 1,200 stores in Africa. Today I was presenting the business side of SharePoint. Good turnaround, good amount of business people coming to SharePoint Saturday. That's a first. Now we actually have business here, which is awesome.
You can also tell by the type of job description that's out there, these companies say. So let's look at some best practices around how to get hired. There's clearly problems,
Today we presented on SharePoint salaries and roles. I presented with Vanessa Rath from It's About People.
The competition out there is really strong. So if you're going to post your CV and you've got a lot of SharePoint experience, be prepared to take a week off just to feel the call. Serious?
The growth of SharePoint in South Africa in 2012 is already approximately, well, over 200 companies that are using SharePoint right now. So there's a lot more uptake out in the organizations, which means they're needing more skills and more specialized skills.
3 top tips. First, plan. Plan. Secondly, listen to your end users. Third tip, take the time. It's not something you switch on and 3 months later, everything's working hunky-dory and you walk away and it survives.
I think the number one is organizational culture and understanding the way people work on a daily basis, and they try to put a system in place that doesn't function like people work. I think 2 is politics, and people like to pretend that politics don't exist within organizations, but they're very real, and they affect the policy and governance of a system. Understanding communication, collaboration, those communication paths are key to success.
People are responding very well to SharePoint Saturday. It's been a big hype in our organization for people to get here.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know, so that's the main part of the event.
The last session I attended now, which on the managed metadata, that was really interesting for developers.
Absolutely. I'll be here next year again.
Field day for geeks, field day for business, field day for everybody.